Ready for another 12-bar progression? Welcome to Guitar Chords Info Stream, 12-bar progressions, Phase 1, Part 3. In Part 3, we're going to tackle the key of G. And as you may remember from Phase 10, the three primary chords in the key of G are G, C, and again I'm using the full C chord this time across all 6 strings just because I can get a bigger sound that way. And D and G. Those are the three primary chords, G, C, and D in the key of G. So we're going to do the same, use the same structure that we used in parts 1 and 2, only we'll be in the key of G now. So we'll do 4 measures in our, using our home chord. That would be the key of G this time, since we're in the key of G, then G would be our primary chord. So here goes, 4 measures of G. Doing upstrokes whenever I feel moved to. 2 measures of C. 2 measures of G. 2 measures of D. 1 measure of G. 1 measure of D. So here it goes again. 4 measures of G, even though I got snagged up a little bit there at the first, but I kept going. You may not have even noticed. And 2 measures of C. 2 measures of G. 2 measures of D. 1 measure of G, 1 measure of D, and I'm just going to end by holding the G chord and letting it ring. And that's a 12-bar progression in the key of G. Now you may have noticed that as far as fingerings for the G chord, I started out using the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th finger. And the reason for that is when it comes time to switch to C, I just think it's a smoother transition from G to C if you're using the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th finger. And then of course when it comes time to go to my D chord, then of course it is a little more awkward going from the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th finger G to D. And when you're in the key of G, you're going to have most likely the C chord and the D chord both to contend with. So there's going to be, it just can't be ideal. Your fingering for the G chord is not going to be ideal at all times. So of course it's a little awkward to go from G to D. But then when I have to go from D back to G, then I just use my 1st, 2nd, and 3rd fingers for the G chord. And then of course after I play my D chord for the 12th and final bar of the 12-bar blues, then I just go back to my 2nd, 3rd, and 4th finger again. As a matter of fact, I'm going to play this a couple of times for you in with a little more emphasis on the fingerings that I'm using for the G chord. So here goes, 4 measures of G, beginning with the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th finger. Doing upstrokes wherever it feels natural. And the C chord for 2 measures, back to G, using the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th fingers. Now, 2 measures of D, 1 measure of of G, first, second, third fingers, and then back to D again. And then when I start over, I just go back to the second, third, and fourth fingers. That way I'll have myself set up for a smooth transition to C. There it is. And then back to G for 2 measures. See, when you make a mistake sometimes, if you just keep going, you don't necessarily crash. I just made a pretty big mistake, but I kept going, and the music didn't really stop. So I'm going to play it one more time for you here and see if I can get it all right this time. 4 measures of G I just did, 2 measures of C, all the while using my second, third, and fourth finger to play the G. Now 2 measures of D. Now back to G for 1 measure, using first, second, and third finger, then D, and then back to, I would go back to the second, third, and fourth finger for G if I wanted to keep going with the progression. In other words, if I wanted to keep playing it instead of stopping. So I believe that between the video and the chord progression being written out in the description of the video, that I think you'll be able to negotiate this, and so spend some time with your guitar playing and enjoying these chords. And just, aren't you glad you learned your chords from the G and C family? They just sound so rich and robust. So that was, of course, that was a significant step, learning the G to C, G and C families of chords, and also these 12 bar progressions are, getting the feel of those is a pretty significant step also. So like I told you in the welcome video, learning to play the guitar, it's just lots and lots of small steps. I just haven't had one great guitar player yet tell me, well, I got to be this good because I just tried this 2 simple things that someone recommended. No, those 2 simple steps, or do these 3 things every day or whatever, they're just not going to get you very far. It's better to just do it lots of small steps, 1 step at a time. So the fact that you made it this far means that you're really coming along, so hang in there. And when you think you spent enough time with these with this 12 bar progression in the key of G, then meet me in part 4 and we'll tackle another key. And if these videos are helping, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section.